we're going to be talking about positioning for success as an educator in whatever field that you are in. So a big welcome to everyone who has joined in. Alright, so this is Conversations with Anuoluwapo. Welcome. My name is Anuoluwapo Michael-Ayeni. I'm an early years educator, and today I'm speaking about identifying and setting career goals as a way of positioning for success as an educator. So I'll just say a few things about why I decided to start this show, Conversations with Anuoluwapo. So this is to educate people, to educate teachers, parents, and this is the second episode, and this is me coming live solo. So in the next few episodes, the next few months, expect to see not just me, but other educators, amazing experts in different fields that will be coming to talk to us about whatever field. Maybe it could be parenting, could be nutrition for children, could be education, could be STEAM, because I see our STEAM expert here, could be play-based learning, yes. So expect to see all these experts in the next few months. But for today, it's just me, and I am talking about identifying and setting career goals. Now, this is as a way of positioning for success as an educator. So if you're here today, welcome. So I'm going to start straight with how can you identify your career goals? So first I'm going to ask, where do you see yourself in the next few years? And these are the questions we get asked a lot. So a number of times when you have interviews or when you maybe talking about your career with you, when you're in that conversation with friends or colleagues, they're asking, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? And sometimes this can be something that we haven't even thought about on our own. And you're thinking, okay, in the next 5 years, I want to be here. In the next 10 years, I want to be here. Now, today, we're not just talking about where you see yourself. We're also looking at how can you position yourself for that place that you desire to be, for that place that you see yourself, for that vision that you have, for that plan that you have. So it's not just about having a vision. In the next 5 years, I see myself in this position. In the next 10 years, I want to be occupying this seat. What effort are you making to get there? What plan do you have to position yourself for that place? Because sometimes this seats will not just come to you. You have to also make certain plans. You have to be intentional about the plans that you're making to get yourself to that place where you see yourself. So that's why we're here this evening. Now, in the next 5 years, I hope that you're reflecting now. In the next 5 years, where do you see yourself? Let's just take a few seconds to think about it. In the next 10 years, where do you see yourself? Now, do you still see yourself in the same place that you are at the moment? Or do you see yourself being a bit more successful as an educator? Now, if this is what you see for yourself, if you're seeing that success for yourself, what plans are you making to get yourself there? Because we're not just going to wish, we're not just going to hope, we're going to plan. And that's why today we want to identify, we want to talk about how we can identify and set career goals. So first thing I will say is reflect. So we've started with the reflection. We've started with the thinking about, this is where I want to be. This is where I see myself now. What do I need to do to get there? So you have to be able to reflect. You have to be able to think. We're thinking because we want to get ourselves into a higher space. So you're thinking about where you see yourself. You're reflecting on that. Now, after reflecting, the next thing to do is now review your plans. You have to start thinking about your own plan for yourself. How does it suit that seat that you want to get to? For instance, I see myself occupying a leadership position somewhere. And you have to start thinking about the skills that are required as a leader. Do you possess it? Now, if you don't possess it, what's the next thing you need to do? You need to start planning. You need to start strategizing. If I see myself occupying a leadership position and I don't have the skills required to be a leader, then the next thing I should do is start thinking about how I can get the required skill. How can I equip myself enough for this seat where I want to get to? So the first thing I have said is reflect. So as an individual, you need to reflect on your career goals or your career plan, on your personal development, on where you want to be 5 years, 10 years from now. And then the next thing is you have to review your goals. Now, when you're reviewing your goals, you're thinking about something personal. You're thinking about goals that relate to you as an individual. Now, I'll tell a short story here. A few weeks ago, I was talking to a school owner who said, oh, she would like to have new teachers. And so I spoke with someone I know personally who said, oh, I know this person. She's really good. She's a great educator. And she's been looking for a job. She's been applying to different places. You know, I think she's going to be an amazing... I didn't meet this person. So I just thought, okay, she's been recommended by someone I know. So I just went straight to the school owner to say, oh, I know someone who's looking for a job right now. I'll have her send you a CV. And you can look at it and take her up on the job. And so I just did that connecting. I didn't talk to the person in question. And a few weeks later, or a few days later, I get a message from the school owner saying, oh, we've met the person you connected us to, you referred us to, and we don't think we can take her on because she's her spelling and writing are very poor. And that had me thinking, wow. And this person has been looking for a job. Now the opportunity came on, and the only reason the school is not going to be taking her up is because writing, spelling is poor. So we know ourselves, you know yourselves. If I'm asking you to do some reflecting, it's not something that I might be able to point out. You need to be honest to yourself when you're reflecting on your career goals or your career plan. You need to be honest with yourself when you're reflecting on the skills that you need in order to position for where you want to be. Someone else might not be able to give you that honest feedback, but you need to be honest with yourself. So if I'm thinking about what skills do I need, I need to be honest with myself. I need to be able to say, oh, I need to learn to be a people person. I need to learn to work as a team. I need to learn to carry people along and not just do me. So if that's the kind of person you are, you're reflecting. If you're that person who you know that, oh, when it comes to spelling, when it comes to writing, I still have a bit of lapses. I need to learn this. Now you need to be intentional about getting this certifications. Now, a number of times I've met teachers who say, oh, I have this certificate, I have that certificate. But I always say that the certificate amounts to nothing when you are not putting it to use, when you're not putting the knowledge to use. So it's not enough that I have a certificate on elocution. When it comes to diction, when it comes to eloquence, how knowledgeable am I? How much of it am I putting to use? How much of it do people see in me when they meet me? I don't necessarily need to tell you that, oh, I've taken courses on elocution, or, oh, I have EYFS certifications or safeguarding certifications. I don't need to tell people. They need to see it in me. They need to see that, oh, yes, she has the skills. She has the knowledge. So when you are reflecting, be sure to be honest with yourself. Is it the way you speak? There are a number of schools out there that would want to take on educators, and they're looking at how well does this person speak? How presentable is he or how presentable is she or is he? They're looking at your appearance. They're looking at how well can this person work as a team? Is he a team player? Is he someone who is just all about doing it by himself? Can he work with other people? Is he a leader? Is he teachable? Is this person teachable? So when you do all of this reflecting, there are a number of things that might limit you in terms of getting jobs in international schools or getting global opportunities. Now you need to think about these skills. You need to think about this knowledge that you need to have. You need to think about these skills that you're lacking. This knowledge, is it the knowledge of the pedagogy? Because I meet a lot of people who say, oh, I'm an EYFS practitioner. Do you have the knowledge? Not just the certificate this time around, the knowledge. Or you're a Montessori educator. Or you say that, oh, you're a teacher who's worked in British schools. Now, do you have the knowledge? Do you have the skills? It lives inside of you. It is not the one that you have to show them on a certificate. The certificate doesn't do much when you cannot display the skills. You have your CV. As a school leader, I have been opportunity to see a number of CVs beautifully written. Like you see it and you're like, fantastic. This person is just the person I need in my school. This is the right teacher to take on because the CV is loaded. But when you meet them, it's like, oh, wow, was that you the CV was talking about or someone else? Because it's not seeming like this person cannot even say half of the things that they have put down on their CV. They cannot even display a lot of the skills and knowledge that you see that their CV say they have acquired. So we're just not going to be taking on certifications. We're also going to be looking at do you have the knowledge? Can you defend the knowledge? Do you have the expertise? When you're left alone to do the job and you say, oh, I'm proactive, I'm a passionate educator. Are you passionate? Are you proactive? Do you have, you taking courses, maybe on play-based learning or hands-on activities or creativity, and your CV says creative teacher. Now, when you're giving all the resources and you're left alone with the children, how do you put them to use? How do you guide the children? Are your instructions clear? What are your class management skills? So the first point, like I have said, is reflecting. And I want to hammer a lot on that reflecting, because you need to be able to reflect. You need to be able to tell yourself, I need this skill. So identifying and setting career goals start with you reflecting on what you need to achieve the goals that you have set out. We said, think about 5, 10 years. Where do you see yourself? Where do you want to be? Now, you're not just going to get there. A number of times I come across posts and I meet teachers who say, oh, teachers are not being well paid in Nigeria. Like a number of teachers that were not appreciated. But I can say that that's not true for most people. It might be true for a few, but that's not true for most people, because you have the opportunity to work in international schools. There are schools who are looking to pay teachers in 6, 7 figures, and they're looking for people maybe every now and then. And if you are given that opportunity to apply, you know that within yourself, you might not be able to make it for that job because of certain skills that you do not have. So while you reflect on what are those skills, you identify for yourself, oh, my diction needs to improve, the way I pronounce words. I need to be clear when I speak. People need to understand me where I speak. I'm not just trying to make up an accent, because it's not just about making up an accent. Do you even understand what you're saying? Can people hear you clearly? So while you're identifying for yourself that these are the areas I need to improve myself, is it my appearance? Is it in my CV? Like, is it in the way I packaged it? Because yes, sometimes your CV can be badly packaged, and when you present it to an organization, they are looking at it like, no, we can't take on this person. So you need to find the right people to help you to modify it in a way that once you send it in, they know that, oh, okay, this CV speaks. Now let's listen. Let's call the person in and let's listen to him or her. So your CV also should be properly done. Now, if you're not able to do it for yourself, you don't have to do everything for yourself. There are experts. There are people out there who have this knowledge. So you can just refer. You can always ask questions. You can even check online, because some of this information, we have them on the internet. So why don't you just read up on, okay, how can I design my CV to look presentable, to showcase the skills that I have? So apart from identifying areas where you need to improve yourself, also look at the CV that you're sending in. Also look at how you are sending in the email. A number of times you could be fit for the job, but you're sending a mail without a heading, without a body. Some people just attach the CV and they send it to the organization. That's not proper email etiquette. So you need to learn that as well. Because sometimes it could be these little things that you don't pay attention to that disqualifies you from that position, or that makes them see like, no, this person is not who we're looking for. So while you're reflecting, review. What do you need to get better? What do you need to do better? So we've started with reflect. Second is review and re-strategize. So if this is what I have done wrong, or that I have been doing wrong, now I need to start seeking the knowledge. I need to look for a diction coach who can put me through how to speak clearly, how to pronounce words correctly. If the spelling, like I mentioned earlier, is the issue, now I need to look to how to learn to spell words correctly. I need to study. Now, if the CV is, you need to look at that. If it's the appearance, you can watch videos. So a lot of these skills, we don't have to take up on ourselves to say, oh, I can do it on my own. There are people that you can consult that can help you to put you through what you need to do better. So I'll just also now go on to a few things that I have listed out as ways that you can position yourself for success as an educator. So we've talked about how you can identify and set your career goals. First, you're reflecting. So you reflect on the skills that you need, that you know that you are lacking in. Next, you review, and then you re-strategize. So think about doing it better. If this is the area where you think, oh, these are areas that are my weaknesses, these are going to be limitations for me to get that position. Now, how can I improve? Talk to people, consult different experts. So we've talked about review, reflect, review, and re-strategize. So next, I'm just going to talk about a few things that I have listed out as ways to position yourself for success as an educator. One, you need to commit to lifelong learning. You need to be continuously learning. You need to continue to learn and improve yourself. So we've talked about reviewing and reflecting and re-strategizing. Now, aside all of that, you need to be a lifelong learner. You need to be a continuous learner. Things are changing every day. Things are improving every day. Don't depend on that knowledge that you had from some few months or some few years ago. There's constant improvement in the education sector. Even in the technological sector, there's constant improvement. There are changes being made day in, day out. So attend workshops, attend conferences, attend training sessions. Commit to continuously learning and improving yourself. You're not just going to depend on the knowledge you had a few years ago when it comes to classroom management or behavior management. You need to also look at what are the changes that have come to play. What are the differentiation practices that have come to play. So be up to date with the 21st century skills and knowledge and apply. Don't just go and learn them like I mentioned at the beginning. Apply. Put them to use. So you want to be a successful educator. You want to put yourself out there. Don't just depend on knowledge from 5-10 years ago. Things are changing. And then next is build strong relationship with your learners, with your parents, with your colleagues. And that is because you cannot do it all by yourself. So once you have that collaboration, you're able to learn from others and they are able to learn from you. You're not holding knowledge, because when they also have new practices, they're going to start to say, oh, she's that one who holds, let's not share any knowledge with her. So have that strong relationship with colleagues, with parents, so they can open up to you and give you feedback, adequate feedback. When you have a strong relationship with parents, they're able to give you feedback. and not one that you're going to take personal because you think, this parent is trying to pick on me. Sometimes when we think that parents are picking on us or when colleagues are picking on you, you know somewhere deep down that this might have been true, except you're trying to lie to yourself. So you need to learn to know to take on feedback, build relationship, don't isolate yourself. Don't be, you're not an island. You can do it all on your own. So lean on others. Also, embrace innovative teaching methods. Like I mentioned earlier, things are constantly changing. So you need to learn to know that, okay, what are the changes? What changes do I need to adopt? How have things evolved when it comes to teaching and learning? Now, how can I use technology in my classroom? Now it's AI here and there. So if you're thinking, no, I want to be that chalkboard teacher, I don't want to learn about AI, the internet is not so safe, you're going to miss out on the advantages. Especially because a lot of children and adults these days depend on technology. A lot of them they tap from the power of technology. So you need to be that person who will do the same thing. I know that it might have its disadvantages, but look out for the advantages. Look out for the benefits. Don't be focused on the disadvantages. Use the advantages to your own benefits. Lean on that for the sake of your learners. Incorporate it into your learning. Bring your lessons to life through the use of technology, through the power of technology. Next, we have create a positive learning environment. Now, you have to build a classroom culture that would encourage curiosity and collaboration. Your classroom should not be the same as that of 5-10 years ago. Like, okay, the children have to be quiet. When I walk in, everybody is quiet. Mr. This is coming. Mr. That is coming. Your children have to be able to express themselves. They have to be able to express their ideas. They have to be free to do that. So you need to build that classroom culture that promotes positive learning, not the one that hinders the children's ability, not the one that shuts them down. Now, I would like to say at this point that being successful as an educator doesn't necessarily mean that you're teaching in a British or an American school. You could be working even in Nigerian local public school and you are a successful educator. I would use a perfect example, Teacher Chike. He is an amazing educator and is working in a government school. But we all know him today. The same as the woman who won the Multina Teacher of the Year. I don't know her name. I know that there's a Deola somewhere, but I don't know her name. You have to connect with your learners. They have to be free to express themselves to you. Now you have to lean on building a positive environment for them, making sure that you're connecting with them, you're bringing out their curiosity and you're feeding their curiosity and they're learning and they're loving what they're getting from you. Yes, bring your lessons to life. Now, set clear goals and expectations. Sometimes a challenge for some educators might be behavior management, classroom management. The children are disruptive. The class is a mess. It's this and that. Now, you set clear goals and expectations for them. Establish goals that are achievable. Don't bombard them with rules here and there. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. Make sure that your rules are clear. Make sure that your expectations are clear and achievable. Consider their age when you're doing all of this. Because first you want to connect with your learners. Connect with them first. When you have that connection with them, a number of times when your children respect you, they would be willing to be sure to ensure that, the classroom is neat, is in order, is safe. It might be a lot of talking, you might have a lot of conversation. Fine. As long as the children understand that, okay, now we are learning, we need to talk, we need to share our own ideas with our teachers. Okay, now we need to get on in our task. Let's focus on it. You don't even have to keep repeating that, oh, you have to be quiet or you have to be this. They know what is expected and they get on with it. Sometimes you're looking for a bit too much when you want them to be quiet at the same time, be this, be that. Sometimes it's asking for too much. Because a number of things that we expect of children sometimes, we as adults cannot even do it. So you have to be sure that, and you have to ensure that you're setting goals that are clear, expectations that are clear. You're assessing, you're getting their own ideas. You're letting them understand that their ideas are welcome, their opinions count, that they matter. Their mental health is important. You're showing this to them because it's not just about you giving them rules and expectations. You listen to them as well. You hear what they have to offer, what they have to say, no matter how young they are. So please set goals that are clear, set expectations that are clear and achievable. Now, next is prioritize self-care. A number of times it's always about us being overworked because we're taking on a whole lot more that we can do. Sometimes you want to take on the schoolwork, you want to take on after-school lessons, you want to take up online classes, and at the end of the day, you end up being overwhelmed and saying, the teaching job is overwhelming, you don't even have any work-life balance. It might be you not prioritizing your well-being. So prioritize self-care. Maintain a healthy life. Maintain a healthy work-life balance. Take breaks, because yes, you do need breaks. I think I created a post today that showed how I have things to do, but I just thought to rest, because sometimes you need to rest. Your body needs to rest. So don't take up too much work, much more than you can do. And at the end of the day, you start to think and talk about how it is overwhelming. It might be you overworking yourself. Sometimes you can just cut down some of the activities that you have. So you can also focus on your own life, on your own family. Now, next is seek and implement feedback. Feedback is important. For every person, for teachers, for learners, implement feedback. When it is given to you, don't just toss it around. Say, that person is just jealous. Implement feedback. One of the things that I did a lot when I was a classroom teacher, after almost all my lessons, I would look to my teaching assistants and class assistants and say, how did it go? What did you think? What do you think? Because I also want to learn from them. I also want to hear their feedback. A number of times I say, Miss Ayeni, you did great as always, it was good. But I will say, okay, so what do you think of this? Do you think it was too long? So I'm asking because I also want to hear from them. And the moment they are saying, I think the way you started the lesson, I think the children sat for too long, I think you should have had a bit more activities, I think your starter was too short, the next time I'm implementing. Because it's not just about me bringing all the ideas and thinking, yes, my ideas are the best. Sometimes hear from others, learn from others, listen to others. Because we need each other to grow, and you need to welcome the feedback. You need to welcome the constructive feedback when it is given, which is why I said earlier, build strong relationship with your learners, with your parents, with your colleagues. Make sure that you have that relationship where they are free to give you feedback and you don't take it to heart, because you know that it is part of your growth. It is part of your learning process. Now use the feedback to identify areas where you need to improve. Now, sometimes when we talked about reflection earlier, and you want to reflect on areas where you need to improve, and you're thinking, okay, is it diction? Is it appearance? Is it my hair? Is it the way I teach? Do I talk too fast? Is it in the time I spend doing the activities? When you're reflecting on these things, you might not even be able to identify an area where you need to improve. You might not be able to identify on your own. But when someone gives you a feedback, you're able to listen. You're able to think about, actually, that might be true. Maybe I do need to improve in this area. Maybe I didn't think about it before. So when you take on the feedback from others, you're able to find out some things that you might not have been able to think about on your own. So that is why we should also take feedback from others. And then next is be adaptable, be teachable. Now you need to know that you cannot continue to do things the same way every year. So you need to be teachable. You need to learn to adapt. A number of times when you get to certain new places, when things are new, we know that it might be difficult. Be open to making changes. When you go into a new environment and you're told, okay, this is how it is done here, you need to learn to take on the changes. Because sometimes that change might also help you to realize that, okay, what you've been doing previously might not be the best. So you need to learn, you need to be open. You need to be flexible. Don't be that rigid teacher. This is how it is. This is how it has to be. This is what we've always done. Don't be rigid. Be open. Be flexible. Be open to change. Be open to make changes in your curriculum, changes in educational policies. If you continue to say, oh, this is how it has always been, and that's how we have to do it, you might end up doing things the same way for too long. And at the end of the day, it will not produce any result. So you need to learn to see the strength or identify and take on from the strength of different practices. And then finally, I would say network and engage in professional communities. Now, that is one area that is very important. Because we mentioned earlier that you cannot do it all by yourself. Collaborate. Connect with other educators. It can be through social media. It can be through the workshops you attend. It can be through the conferences you attend. Now, that's one of the areas where I have also said I need to improve on this year. I know that through social media, I've connected with a number of educators, and I am glad. But I'm now looking at connecting with them physically, attending workshops to meet them, interact with them, join organizations where you're all in the related field. You can share ideas. You can learn from them, share experiences, learn from their own experiences, learn from the education community that you're in. It's very important that we network and connect with other educators in our own field. So all of these are ways that you can position for success as an educator. So we've said that to identify and set your career goals, you need to first reflect on your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next few years? Where do you want to be? Now, after reflecting on this, now review the goals. Because what do you need to get there? Be sure that it is in place. Review it. Make it achievable. Make sure that they are SMART goals. So I want to be a leader, or I want to be a school owner in the next 10 years. What do you need? Now start to strategize. How can I put it in place? Between now and the year 2024, I need to take on a course on leadership. Maybe you're an EYFS or you're a Montessori educator, and you realize that in top Montessori and British schools, you're not able to get a role because they see you and they think you don't have the knowledge. Now, maybe you need to think about what trainings you need to take. There are a number of Montessori trainings out there. I know of Pine Nest, I know of Heritage House, I know of, I think it's, I can't remember the name of the school, I'm trying to remember. They organize amazing Montessori seminars that you can attend and learn from. And there's also the Medical College of Education, there's the Easter School of Education. So look at these schools, look at courses that you can take to improve yourself, even as you start to review your goals and strategizing on how you can get there. And then you need to now position yourself for success as an educator. So in positioning yourself, you're looking at all the things I have listed earlier. You're looking at networking. You're looking at building strong relationship with your teachers, with your colleagues, with your parents. You're looking at committing to lifelong learning because you should continuously learn. Embracing innovating teaching methods, creating positive learning environment for your learners, setting clear goals and expectations, prioritizing self-care, seeking and implementing feedback, demonstrating adaptability and flexibility, and then networking and engaging in professional communities. So all of these are ways that you can position for success as an educator. And as I have said sometimes during this session, your success does not depend on the place that you're working. Your success depends on how well are you doing where you are. So even if you're in a public school, how well are you doing? How well are you known for being a change maker? For being the positive, for bringing the positive vibe, as they say now, for bringing the positive vibe into the school. Are you recognized by the school board, by your colleagues, by your learners as that teacher who strives for excellence at all times? That is success. And if your goal is to work in an international school, now you're looking at your success being your ability to get into that school and being able to succeed. You're looking at being able to fit into the environment. So you also want to look at courses that you can take, areas that you can improve on in order to position yourself for that place. And if your success is to get global opportunities to work outside Nigeria, then you're also looking at what qualifications do you need to get. So when you're reflecting, think about the qualification you need to get for you to get those global opportunities. So all of these are the points I have to share today on identifying and setting career goals. So this is the beginning of the new year. Now be sure to identify your own career goals, reflect on it, review, and re-strategize to position yourself for where you want to be before the end of the year 2024. Your goal might be to get that position before the end of 2024, or before the end of the first quarter, or even before the end of the first half. Whatever your goal is, make sure that you're not just thinking or hoping. Make sure that you're working towards it. So we have come to the end of the second episode of Conversations with Anuoluwapo. I hope you have learned something new. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for staying through the end. If you have any questions, please feel free to type in your questions in the comment section, and I will be glad to respond to them. Also, be sure to follow at earlyyearslearning_ng on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and even Twitter. See you next month at the next episode of Conversations with Anuoluwapo. Bye for now.